All right, we are now going to hear from Fabrizio Mata, who I should point out was this semester one of our Bank of America scholars.
Thank you very much, Amanda. All right, so I can start, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. My name is Fabrizio Mata, and I want to start my presentation by telling you all a little bit about myself. So I grew up in southeastern Mexico, in a state called Yucatan, and as I grew up, I really didn't have access to financial news, business news, or business media in general. It was only until I moved to the United States in 2015 that the situation changed. And this experience, this made me recognize a problem that's going on in the market in general. And that problem is that business media in Latin America is outdated, and it's not speaking to younger audiences, and it's not prioritizing access. So there is a gap in fund and needs to adjust business media in Latin American market. And as you can see here in the United States, you have, of course, Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, other legacy media publications. Well, you also have this new wave of business media companies like Morning Brew and The Hustle, who are speaking clearer to younger audiences. In Latin America, you got El Financiero and El Economista and brands like that. And we created El Maletín to address that transition into the new age of business media. So we are spearheading the new age of business media in the region, and our purpose is to inform, educate, and build a community of business-minded individuals across Latin America. So talking about how we're addressing this problem, first, we're focusing on business students. The product at Maletín is a newsletter, and we started it last year. And throughout this time, we found the business students are certainly the easiest customers to acquire and the ones that are most engaged. But we're also interested in servicing young professionals, because through the feedback that we've received, we recognize that they're really not being serviced by traditional media. And our solution at Maletín, of course, one of the main things is that we write business news that read like a conversation. And that's a really important point, because we really want to improve access and make business students who perhaps don't know about like complex financial terms just learn more about finance, or more of the stock market, and just explore their curiosity further. That's what we're trying to offer, and at the same time want to do so while building a community of creators and individuals in the region. Now, this is what the newsletter looks like currently. We start with a quote. We currently have that by James Cameron. Then we follow it by a market section, just give a quick rundown of what happened day before in the markets in Mexico and US and just the world. We write, of course, business news in our style. And then we have what we call the value add, or the community building. The question of the day, or the Pregúntale a Rafa, those are two sections where we really want to engage our readers in. So the question of the day is a community sourced question database in general. So every week we ask our people, hey, what would be good questions to ask next week? And they suggest all kinds of them. And, we would place them on each newsletter, and members from our audience respond to those questions. So it's a good loop of community. And Rafa, that's one example of how we're trying to build a network of creators. Rafa is an ex-banker who's currently building his YouTube channel focused on personal finance. And every week we dedicate a section to him where our readers ask him questions and he responds to them all through our newsletter. And that's one of our biggest differentiators, that we truly are hyper customer focused. We try to add as much value with sections like Rafa's. And yeah, at the moment we've been gaining traction. As I said, this project started last year, and just over the past 6 months, we've observed a 400% plus growth in subscribers. At this rate, if we can do this over the following 6 months, we can maintain this rate. By November, we would have over 20,000 readers. And here's the landscape. There are competitors, yes, legacy business media. There are YouTube influencers. There are digital media channels. And there are even some newsletters, but we are so hyper-focused on our customers that we truly believe we're on our own category. And we think that that's why we will win in general. And in this fragmented landscape, that opens up a really big window for opportunity. And a really important aspect I want to talk to you about is that it's not only that people love us. I mean, people love us, and I'm not just going to tell you myself. I'm going to show you. So here are some comments that we gained recently of people who send us DMs on Instagram or email us telling us how much they like their product. Of course, it's in Spanish, but we've received great feedback, and we constantly receive it. And that we think is our biggest competitive advantage. So now you might be wondering, why did we start with a newsletter? Well, first, it's just that newsletters are having a moment currently in the United States, and it's following a really similar pattern to where podcasting was around 3 years ago, where it peaked in the US. Latin America was still small. Currently, newsletters are peaking in the US. Substack is a platform that just allows writers to focus on writing and basically outsource everything else regarding to newsletters. So as you can see, it's really huge exponential growth in its platform and in general, the newsletter landscape, with companies like Morning Brew and The Hustle growing immensely. Now, the newsletter, we also decided because we believe that investing in Latin America digital media, it's like going back in time. This is a concept called time machine management, pioneered by SoftBank. The premise is that the US is the future. And if you find the most successful business models there and you apply them to other geographies at the right time, it's a really good recipe for success in general. So here are some examples of that working. Carvana buys used cars, fixes them up, sells them on the platform. Kavak, exactly the same thing, but in Mexico. And we covered in a Maletín around 2 months ago, they became a unicorn. And not only that, they became the fastest growing Mexican startup in history. The classic example too, Amazon Mercado Libre. Mercado Libre applied Amazon's business model in LATAM, currently the most valuable company in Latin America. And another important component to note is that we're not reinventing the wheel. The playbooks that we follow are online. Austin Reeve is the co-founder of Morning Brew. Ethan Brooks works at Growth for The Hustle. I actually have a meeting with Ethan Brooks next week. But we're following this structured playbooks of successful models. And that has proven to be successful in our growth and the content that we produce too. And here is how we're going to make money. The main source of revenue, even for The Hustle and Morning Brew, which are more mature companies, is still the ad revenue, affiliate links, and personalized advertisements in the newsletters. But we really want to expand, and our goal is to not rely on ad revenue. We want to make it less than 50% of our revenue in the future, because we see the potential for selling merchandise that we'll use in our referral program too, and hosting events, of course, when COVID is not a problem. Patronage, we plan offering bundles to our subscribers or patrons of exclusive communities and extra content. But a really big focus of ours is going to be the premium newsletters. We want to make in-depth market analysis and just focus on different industries and make more niche topics and start expanding on the premium newsletters. We've seen many examples in the US market of this being a successful model. And
you have 2 minutes left.
Thank you. And if we execute on the steps that I mentioned before, we generally believe that in 10 years, Maletín will be the biggest media company in Latin America. And we believe it. And in order to achieve it, we think that in order to execute things better, we're trying to raise $50,000 by January 2022. And the way this is going to be allocated, we're going to, of course, spend in the referral program, which is basically, we're already seeing organic growth in which our customers or readers are recommending the newsletter to others, and they just subscribe without us doing any marketing, so word of mouth. But in the referral program, you give them that extra incentive. So you say like, oh, here's a mug or here's a t-shirt. And if you refer us to 5 people, you'll get a t-shirt. We want to invest in that. We want to invest in a better email service provider, and the rest in marketing and talent recruitment to build that network that I was talking about. And about the email service provider, here's how we stack up against Morning Brew and The Hustle. Of course, we got the lower open rate, lower subscribers. We got a really good retention rate. And it's important to know that Morning Brew, when they were using the email service provider that we're using right now, which is the basic MailChimp one, they had a 22% open rate. When they switched they made that big jump. So that's part of the reasons why we're looking for the resources. And here's the team. I think we have throughout time and just chemistry working together, we have identified a spot, a range of things that the market is interested in. And we do the content, we do interesting content that receives great feedback. And we're just really excited about the future in general. We have a great CTO who helps us with all the technical aspects. And in general, we are ready to take on this challenge. We are ready to keep growing. And yeah, thank you all very much. And thanks in particular to Amanda Golden for allowing me to this program. Learn a lot about not only my team, but myself, and also to my wonderful mentor, Sean Stallings and Ashish Gupta. Thank you all so much, and looking forward to hearing questions.